What is going on, everyone? This is Eric coming at you from just outside of Hartford, Connecticut. And today, we're going to revisit the R.A. Dickey trade, which occurred back on December 16th, 2012. So, back in 2020, we discussed this trade, but now that one player in particular has moved on from his organization, it is safe to rediscuss this trade. It was such an impactful trade that it is worth discussing a second time, especially since I don't like how the first one came out. So basically, the Blue Jays, at this point in time, were in win-now mode. 1 month prior to this trade, they had swung a massive blockbuster deal that netted them a strong group of players, including Mark Burrell and Jose Reyes. Still, though, they felt that they needed to add an ace. Deciding to once more trade with the NL East, the Blue Jays called on the Mets, who had 2012 Cy Young winning knuckleball pitcher R.A. Dickey in the rotation. Dickey wanted a new contract, and the Mets were not in the position to give a 38-year-old pitcher such a commitment. As a result, he was dealt to Toronto. So how did this trade work out? We're going to start by looking at the Blue Jays. Now, of course, the first player the Blue Jays got was starting pitcher R.A. Dickey. Now, while his stats took a hit from his career year in 2012, he still provided stability to the Blue Jays starting rotation. He went 14-13 with a 4.21 ERA across 34 starts, which led the majors, in the 2013 season. He would win the Gold Glove Award as well. Now, he had a very similar season in 2014, as he once more would go 14-13, and he once more led the league with 34 starts. He did, however, improve his ERA, dropping it to 3.71. Now, 2015 started off a bit slowly for Dickey, but he really turned it around after the All-Star break. All said and done, he went 11-11 with a 3.91 ERA. After the season was over, he underwent surgery to address a torn meniscus. So it was clear that his knee was bothering him, and 2016 wasn't the best for him. He went 10-15 with a 4.46 ERA, by far his worst season as a Toronto Blue Jay. Now, near the end of 2016, it was clear that he had fallen out of favor with the organization, and he only made a handful of starts in the month of September, and they left him off the postseason roster, off the rotation, and as a result, he would walk after the season. He was still a one-time Gold Glove winner, though, so at least there's that. Now, the Blue Jays also got a pair of catchers in this deal, the first of whom was Josh Thole. Now, Thole started off the 2013 season in AAA, and he was called up 2 months into the year. Now, he would essentially spend the next 4 seasons as the backup catcher in Toronto, mostly serving as Dickey's personal catcher, as it's not easy to catch a knuckleballer. Now, across 170 games, he would hit just at the Mendoza line at 200 with a pair of home runs. Not the best. Now, lastly, they also got catcher Mike Nickeas, and Nickeas would spend 2013 in AAA, excluding a single MLB game where he would sub in as a defensive replacement, but did not record a single at-bat. Now, he would spend 2014 in AAA as well, and then he ends up retiring prior to 2015 because he decided to go back to school rather than spend his time in AAA. Can't blame him. So that's how the Blue Jays did. How did the Mets do? So the first player we're going to look at is, of course, the guy who, in retrospect, Toronto probably shouldn't have traded away. Starting pitcher, Noah Syndergaard. So Syndergaard, obviously, was a prospect at this time, and he made his debut in May of 2015. So it took him, 2 years in the minors, which is fine. And he had a strong rookie campaign, going 9-7 with a 3.24 ERA and 166 strikeouts. Due to this season, he would finish 4th in NL Rookie of the Year voting, which is relatively impressive considering that he missed basically 2 months of the year. So, yeah. Now, he had a very strong showing in the NLCS against the Chicago Cubs, as he would pitch 5 2/3 innings, allowing only a single run in a win. Now, this is the year where the Mets made the World Series, and Syndergaard actually started Game 3 of the World Series as a rookie. He would allow 3 runs in 6 innings, but he did earn the win, and it was a quality start. The team, however, would go on to lose the World Series 4-1, meaning that his win was the only one that the Mets got in the series itself. Now, he would actually go on to hit a pair of homers in a May game against the Dodgers in 2016, which is pretty cool. Pitchers don't hit a lot of home runs, so for him to hit 2 in a single game, pretty exciting. Now, despite dealing with some bone spurs in his elbow, he put together a solid season in 2016. He went 14-9 with a 2.60 ERA and 218 strikeouts. However, 2017 was a lost season for him, as he dealt with multiple injuries, including blisters, a torn back muscle, an arm injury, and a hamstring injury. He would appear in only 7 games that year, going 1-2, albeit with an impressive 2.97 ERA. Now, he would miss a month and a half in 2018 due to a finger injury, but he still had a very strong campaign, going 13-4 with a 3.03 ERA in what was just a dominant season. However, the start of 2019 in general was just brutal for him. He was struggling, but he did start to turn it around, and all said and done, he ended the year with a 10-8 record and a 4.28 ERA to go with 202 strikeouts. He would, however, lead the NL by allowing 94 runs to score, earned runs to score, I should say, too. So, unfortunately for him, though, he would miss the entirety of 2020 and the vast majority of the 2021 season after undergoing Tommy John surgery and then suffering a setback. He would make a pair of appearances in 2021, both lasting a single inning. He would walk after the 2021 season. And he was only a one-time All-Star for the team, but it definitely felt like he was much more dominant than that, especially as a fan of an NL East team. You hated going up against Syndergaard. He was just an amazing pitcher before he started dealing with the injuries. So we have 3 more players we're going to look at. The next is, of course, catcher Travis d'Arnaud. So d'Arnaud was also a prospect, and he would spend the first half of 2013 in AAA, mostly because he had fractured a foot, so he was kind of rehabbing the injury. So he would debut in August of 2013, and he quickly would become the Mets starting catcher. He did struggle as a rookie, however, as expected. He stepped up a bit in 2014, as he would hit .242 with 13 homers. But it should be noted that his defense was among the worst in the league for catchers. He would miss 2.5 months in 2015 with various injuries, and all said and done, he hit an impressive 268 with 12 homers over only 67 games. So he showed power, he showed some good bat skills, but he would once more struggle with injuries in 2016. Although he did hit .247, his home run total dropped to 4 over 75 games. Now in 2017, he spent some time at third base, and he ended the year with a .244 average and 16 homers. And then, unfortunately for him, after only 4 appearances in 2018, he would suffer a torn UCL, and he needed to undergo Tommy John surgery. Now, while he was coming back and getting ready to, come back to the Major League roster in 2019, he was somewhat surprisingly cut by the Mets, who decided that they didn't need him anymore, and they wanted to go another direction. So, solid player, didn't pan out as a top prospect, but still a solid player. Next, we have catcher John Buck. And Buck would begin the 2013 season as the Mets starting catcher, but he lost the job by August to Travis d'Arnaud. He ends up getting traded after hitting .215 with 15 homers. So he's traded to the Pittsburgh Pirates in exchange for a pair of players, the first of whom was second baseman Dilson Herrera. Herrera would make his debut in 2014 due to various injuries for the Mets organization as a whole. In that year, across 18 games, he would hit .220 with 3 homers. He was called up in 2015 for the same reason, injuries, but this time he would spend some more time in the majors. He would appear in 31 games, but he struggled again, hitting only .211 with 3 homers. Now, he was traded mid-2016 after spending the year in AAA. He's traded to the Reds in exchange for outfielder first baseman Jay Bruce. And Bruce unfortunately had a disappointing 2016 season for the team, hitting .219 with 8 homers in 50 games. But he started to become more successful in 2017. He would hit .256 with a team-high 27 homers before he was traded in August because the team decided, they didn't need him, they didn't need the salary, and they would trade him to the Cleveland Guardians in exchange for relief pitcher Ryder Ryan. Now, Ryan would spend a pair of years in the minors, working his way up to Double-A. However, he ended up getting traded midway through the 2020 season for third baseman Todd Frazier. And Frazier would appear in 14 games for the Mets. He would hit .224 with a pair of homers. He also pitched in a game, throwing a 1-2-3 inning, recording a strikeout, so pretty impressive pitching debut for him. However, he would walk after the year. So, in the trade where the Mets got Dilson Herrera, they also got relief pitcher Vic Black, and Black had a solid 2-year stint for the Mets, recording a 5-3 record with 1 save and a 2.83 ERA. However, he spent the entirety of 2015 in the minors, and he decided to move on from the organization. Now, lastly, in the original R.A. Dickey trade itself, the Mets also got outfield prospect Wilmer Becerra, and Becerra spent 6 years in the minors, only making his way up to high A before he walked as a minor league free agent. Mets made a lot of moves, specifically with the John Buck portion of this trade. How did the rest of the secondary teams do? We will start by looking at the Pittsburgh Pirates, who got 2 players, the first of whom was catcher John Buck. Buck would appear in 9 games, hitting .333 before leaving. He essentially served as like a backup veteran presence. So they also got outfielder Marlon Byrd. Now, Byrd had a solid end to the 2013 season. He would hit 3 homers with a .318 average over 30 games before he himself would also walk as a free agent. Next, we got the Cincinnati Reds, who got a pair of players in exchange for Jay Bruce. The first player we'll look at is second baseman Dilson Herrera. Herrera spent the rest of the 2016 season and all of 2017 in AAA. He started off 2018 there as well, but he would be called up in July. He would appear in 53 games for the Reds, hitting a .184 with 5 homers, and then he was allowed to walk after the season. They also got pitcher Max Wotel, and Wotel would spend a pair of years in the minors before walking, as he just did not look that good. Now, the Cleveland Guardians got outfielder first baseman Jay Bruce in this trade, and he had a decent end to the year. He hit .248 with 7 homers across 43 games before he would walk as a free agent. The last team we're going to look at is the Texas Rangers, who got relief pitcher Ryder Ryan. Now, Ryan spent the entirety of the 2021 season in AAA, so he has yet to make his MLB debut, but he was allowed to participate in the Summer Olympics for Team USA, where he went on to win a silver medal. The fact that the team let him participate in the Olympics tells me that they don't necessarily have the highest plans for him, which is why I feel comfortable recording this part of the trade. So anyways, we're going to do the best part of the video, my favorite part of the video, the WAR summaries. So how did this trade go? It's pretty clear the Mets win this trade. They did so well, specifically with Noah Syndergaard. They got a 21.7 WAR. Toronto got a 4.9, all from Dickey. The other two hurt their total WAR. The secondary teams, the Pirates got a 1.0 WAR, mostly due to Marlon Byrd. The Reds got a negative .2 WAR. The Cleveland Guardians got a 0.3, and the Texas Rangers currently have a 0.0, but it is possible for Ryder Ryan to make his debut at some point. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This was the R.A. Dickey trade remastered. Have a good rest of your day.